will Sam ever find true love?
Maybe he did. I know it's been a while since I've made my last video. It's been almost 2 years. I was pretty nervous to make any other videos. I'm not really happy with my last videos, but I did have fun making them, and it seems like a bunch of people did like the videos, and thank you for that. I'm not a professional. I'm not here to make a video with fantastic quality. And again, my English pronunciation is not really good. But I want to go back to making these videos because they are pretty fun, and I don't think many people on YouTube talk about Sam and Max that much. Maybe in the future I would like to make videos about other things that I like. But yeah, it's been a while. Hello again, and I hope you enjoy this video. To this day, I have no idea what the narrator is trying to say with this line. Everything else that he mentions are things that do get answers later on, things that happen later on in the season. But the Sam finding true love thing never comes back again. It's just a random comment that he makes, and it could be a joke, but this season was really focused on Sam and Max's relationship, of Sam losing Max, on how much they both mean to each other, or how much Max cares about Sam. Even if he has all the power in the world, he would prefer to just be with Sam above everything else, and how he will sacrifice himself for him and for his friends and for a whole city. Yeah, this was all about Sam and Max's relationship and how it affects them to lose each other. It wasn't about Sam finding any love interest or anything. So even to this day, when I replay the episode, it's always something that confuses me. It could be a reference to how at some point in episode 4, Sam pretends to be Stinky's boyfriend for one situation, but that would feel very out of place because it's something that it's not important to the story or the characters at all, and neither girls Stinky or Sam have any feelings towards each other. I don't think the intentions of that line were to talk about the future pretending to be girl Stinky's boyfriend situation. It's likely that this comment was either a joke, which probably a lot of things that they say in this franchise is a joke, or it could be a plotline that they were thinking about and that they ended up not doing at the end, which is interesting if that's the case. The idea of giving Sam a love interest in this game. I don't know if that was never their intention, maybe it wasn't, but it feels like maybe at some point in the script they thought about giving Sam a love interest and then they decided, no, we're not doing that. Who knows? If it was just a joke, I don't think it's completely meaningless to talk about it. I don't think it's completely meaningless to find more meaning to it. A lot of the jokes of this franchise have meaning and have depth to it, even if the intention is that they're just jokes. So I think even if this love interest comment was just a joke, it's something that is still worth to talk about. So we know that even if it's a joke, it's something worth to talk about. It cannot be Girls Thinking because it was something that was too small and too unimportant to the characters and story. And it probably wasn't a love interest that they had in mind and later on removed from the game, because there's just no proof for this. But we do have proof for a fourth option. Max is the love interest. I have talked about Sam and Max being a couple before in my previous videos, but they were just mentions. They weren't the main focus of the video. If you follow me on Tumblr, I think you are aware that I like these two characters together. Suggesting that Max is Sam's love interest is nothing new. I'm not saying anything that the fans don't already know. I think a lot of people find this relationship to be very meaningful and to be very important to them. I think it's something worth analyzing, just as how it's worth analyzing the characters and the themes and everything else. But anyway, I'll continue. Sam and Max start the game by, being their usual selves. Nothing in their relationship seems to change that much. In seasons 1 and 2, there have been multiple hints of them being a couple, but I don't think it's as obvious as they are in the cartoon. I blame that on the Telltale writers because sometimes you know how these games are written. I have a lot of problems with how the Telltale games are written, and one of them is how Sam and Max's relationship is written sometimes. In season 3, it's the same as usual, and at some point in the episode, Sam is given the option to use the wedding ring on Max. And then starts the very popular sequence of Sam imagining his life engaged with Max, only for him to brush it off at the end. It's a great scene, we all love it, we have all watched it. I don't need to explain it. This scene is as much proof of Sam having feelings for Max, just as much proof that he maybe isn't very into Max as much as we think, but we know that that's not true. It's just the Telltale writers being Telltale writers. And you might think that this scene kind of ruins the point of this video, but it actually enhances it. Let me explain. The rest of this season is spent with Sam and Max losing each other constantly or being in a very dangerous situation. They have been in dangerous situations before, but this one is like the one that they might actually lose each other. This is the highest stakes that Sam and Max has ever found themselves into. So the relationship is also at stake, and it's something that affects both of them. This isn't just a silly little adventure where they make a bunch of jokes and they easily win at the end and solve a bunch of puzzles and that's it. And they don't really change as characters, and they don't have to think about what their relationship means to each other. They just continue to make jokes and not really think about it that much. In this game, Sam loses Max once, and that changes his life forever. And even when things go back to normal, at least for an episode, you can tell that that experience has affected him, and he's worried about losing Max again, and he's worried about Max leaving him, and he's worried about Max becoming too powerful. These aren't things that he was thinking about before, but he's thinking about it now that he has lost Max once. It feels like he's thinking about their relationship more. It feels like he's realizing how much Max means to him. He already knew that. Sam and Max mean a lot to each other, and that has always been clear to them. It's not something that they need to realize, but in this situation, you think about it even more. And Sam is thinking about it very deeply. We can't really read all of his thoughts, but I can also tell what might be going on his head right now. Sam might be thinking about what he has went through and what could happen in the future. Maybe he could lose Max again, and what will he do? It already hurt a lot to lose him once. And what does Max mean to him? What kind of relationship does he want to have? Maybe he doesn't want to brush it off. Maybe he actually does want to have a romantic relationship with him, or any other sort of relationship that isn't what they have right now. Maybe he wants to talk things out with Max. Maybe he wants to confess to him. Maybe he wants to be sincere with his feelings. What feelings does he have for Max? These are all thoughts that I think he could be having at the moment, and maybe it's just me making these comments out, but it kind of makes sense for the narrative and for what happens before and later in the story. What's clear is that Sam is focused on Max. He isn't focused on any other character. The only love interest in the story that you could interpret as Sam's love interest is Max. He's the person that he constantly thinks about in this game. He's the person that he's worried for the most. He's the person that he realizes he wants to spend the rest of his life with, because he knows he will be miserable without him. Even if he could continue on without him, life wouldn't be as fun. Life wouldn't be as joyful. He wants Max in his life. You can say that Max goes through a character arc of taking more responsibility of things, of caring about others, about sacrificing himself for others, not only just think about himself, not be completely responsible, look out for others, try to solve a case by himself, to be scared, to be worried. You could say that that's kind of the character that Max goes through a little bit. Maybe not completely, but you could say it's there. I personally think that Max is a very caring person. I think he's very openly caring about others. I think he's very sweet. But the way that the Telltale games write him, it feels like he has to go through a character arc of taking more responsibility of things and caring more about things. I think Max in the cartoon, I think he's way more openly sweet to other people. I don't think he needs to learn any lesson. I don't think he needs to go through a character arc. I think it's obvious that he cares about others and things like that. But that seems to be the character arc that he goes through in the Telltale games. What will be Sam's character arc in this game? I think Sam goes through a lot of times where he has to do things on his own without Max. He doesn't have Max by his side, and he has to deal with that, and he has to adapt to it. Sam is a person that can be very insecure, and Max is the person that has always made him feel more secure about himself, and he's somebody that doesn't like to be alone. But I also think Sam has another character arc in this game, and that is coming to terms that he might be in love with Max. He thought about it for a while, and then he brushed it off. Then he lost Max, and he realized how much he needs him and loves him. Then Max came back and started worrying about him even more, and worried that maybe he would lose him again. And then he lost him again and realized, I wanted to spend my whole life with him, and now that he's gone, even if I have to move on, which is something that I have learned to do this season, I have learned to adapt to be on my own. It doesn't mean that it's going to hurt any less, and it doesn't mean that I want this, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to be happy and okay with this. I wanted to spend my life with this person, and now I can't. And maybe, just maybe he did have feelings for him. Maybe he did wanted to propose. Maybe he does want another kind of relationship with Max. Maybe he has feelings for him. Maybe he wants to propose. And luckily, we know that another Max comes back and they can start a new life together. And judging by the other characters' interpretations that these two have, it's very likely that after this game, Sam and Max start a relationship after all that they have went through. I think they can talk about this, or at least think about it and express themselves better. Before they were insecure about it, but Sam has learned to be a little less insecure and be more confident on himself and do things on his own. And Max, at least in the Telltale games, has learned that it's fine if he's openly sweet to other people. It's fine if he cares about them openly. It's not going to kill him. Oh, sorry. And speaking of Max, let's go back to the reason why I made this video at all. Remember who asks the question about Sam finding the love of his life? The narrator is the one that asks the question. And spoiler alert if you haven't played the games, but the narrator is Max's super ego. It's part of Max's brain. Max himself is asking himself if Sam is ever going to find true love. And then the rest of the season is about the relationship that Sam and Max have with each other. The entire point of the Devil's Playhouse is about Sam and Max's relationship. It's about a million things, but the main center of the story, it's about their relationship. Max is asking himself if Sam is ever going to find true love, but the answer is yes. Yes, he did. You are, Max. You are his true love. I don't care if the writers never intended for me to make all of these connections. I don't care if I sound insane right now analyzing this stupid game. And I find meaningful finding meaning. I understand that other franchises can be more serious, and so an analysis of it makes more sense. But I don't think that because of a franchise is more dumb, stupid, or, at least funny and silly and things like that. I don't think it means that you can analyze things. It doesn't mean that you're wasting your time for analyzing this stuff. I always find it really sweet that people find meaning in stuff that might seem a bit meaningless to other people. Sam & Max franchise itself does that. It takes jokes, but it makes them important for the characters and for the story. So what I mean is, I think there is always meaning in the absurdity. Thanks for watching.